All right, hey guys, what's up? This is Raul. I am the Galaxy, you know. Uh, so yeah, today I'm gonna show you guys how to make a planet entirely inside Photoshop using only a photo of a texture, and that's it. So let's get started. So right here I have a photo of like a wall, like a rusty wall. So let's use this as a starting point. So just if you have a photo of a texture or anything, or if you want to use this one, I will give you a link to this texture so you can use to follow along. So what you want to do is just drop it into Photoshop, and what we're gonna do is, since this photo is wide, we want to make this a square. So um, go to your crop tool. If you know the shortcut is C, or you can go to image canvas size and then do this. But what we're gonna do is just hit C because what we want to make sure that you have delete crop pixels selected. So make sure that has a check mark, and then here make sure that you're selected on 1 by 1 square, and then so just hit enter, and your canvas should look like this right here. So next up we're gonna do is turn this background into a layer. So just right click on the layer and click layer from background, hit OK. Uh, so now so now we have a layer from the background. Let's actually name this base. And so the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna make this look sort of like a sphere. Uh, and we're actually gonna use a filter called Spherize. So if you go up to your menu, go to Filter, go down to Distort, Spherize. So then what you want to do is just like make this go out a little bit so you can see better. Make sure that the amount is set to 100. That way you see right here the actual thing that's happening. So you want it to look like this. So just hit OK. And we actually want to do this again. So go to Filter, and the thing about when you do a filter, usually the last filter you use is up on top. And if you click on it, it's gonna remember all the last settings you used. So just click on Spherize again right here, and your page should now look like this. So the next step we want to do is go to View, make sure that your snap is set and that all these are selected. So what we want to do is go back to View and turn on your rulers. So the shortcut is Command R on Mac, and so hit rulers. Now you should see these little rulers on the left and top. So what we want to do is make sure you're selected on your layer, and click and drag. Click into the left ruler and drag out to the center until you see that it snaps. You see that little jump right there? So that's the actual center right here, 1224 pixels. So just let go. And then let's do the same from the top. Click and drag down to the middle until it snaps. So 1224 right here. So just let go. And then for good measure, let's make a safety guide and have it be all the way to the right. So it should snap automatically to the rightmost of the content. So the next thing we're going to do is select our elliptical marquee tool. Generally, you'll see this rectangular marquee tool by default. So just if you click and hold down into it, this little window should pop up. Alternatively, you just hit M. And if you're already selected on it, you can just hit Shift and M and it'll cycle through. So just make sure you have elliptical marquee tool set, and make sure feather is set to 0. So what we're gonna do is click into the center of where the two guides meet. So click and hold down Option and Shift until you start seeing this circle expand, while you click and drag down to the bottom right until you snap to the rightmost guide. And when it snaps, just let go, and you should see these little marching ants running around your sphere. So the next thing you want to do is go back to your layers, and while you have the base layer selected, go down to the bottom and you see this little thing here. It says add layer mask. Click on that. Your page should look like this now. So the next thing we want to do is, while still being selected on the layer mask, what you want to do is we want to load the selection of this round shape. If you hover over the thumbnail of the layer mask, you should see this little hand pointing up, this little pointer. If you click and hold Command, you should see this little square show up at the bottom of it. So hold down and then click into it, and it should load up the little marching ants all around the sphere again. So what we want to do is make a new layer. So click down here, create a new layer, and let's just name this atmosphere. Okay. And then what you want to do is go to where the gradient tool is and click and hold until you go to the paint bucket tool. Again, you can just hit G just to have that pop out. And then make sure that your colors are set to black and white. And click on, if your foreground is set to black and your background is set to white, click this little switch thing right here. It should swap them. And then make sure that white is set to your foreground color. And then click inside the circle. It should fill it with white. So now what you want to do is go to select and deselect. Alright, so next step, we want to expand the canvas because we're gonna be adding some more stuff to it. So what we want to do is go to Image, Canvas Size, and set height and width both to around like 3500 each. Alright. So now you should look like this. So your atmosphere layer, let's set the fill down to 0% for the meantime. And what we want to do now is create a brand new layer and move it, click and drag, move it right below the base layer. Let's name this like I don't know, space. So now what we want to do with this layer is kind of how we did with the white, filling the layer with white. This time we want to fill the background with black. So if your foreground is still white, just switch it to black. If there are other colors, all you can do is just click into this thing and just move it around until you reach black. Just hit OK, and then just click into the background, and now you should have a black background. Okay, the next step is you want to select both the atmosphere layer and the base layer. So click on the atmosphere layer, and then while holding down Shift, click on the base layer to select both. And then we are gonna create a group of these two layers. So shortcut on Mac is Command G, on PC is Option G. So just do that. You should create a group with both layers inside. Let's rename this Planet. And then what we want to do is kind of how we did earlier. We want to load in the selection of the round ellipse. So just hover over the thumbnail and just click and hold Command on Mac, Option on PC, and click into here until you get the marching ants again. So what we want to do now is go to Select, Modify, and click Expand. And then we want to set expand to about let's say 250 pixels. Just hit OK. And we should get something like this, like a big circular marching ants all around. So now what we want to do is click onto the planet group, the topmost group layer you see, and then hit the create or add layer mask button. It should create a big giant circular layer mask. So the next thing we want to do is we want to click on the base layer, load up the selection again for this, and now let's go back to where the paint bucket tool was and switch it to the gradient tool. So now we want to reverse this again, the colors. Make sure that your foreground is set to black, and if you click up here, you'll notice that you have like what colors it can blend to. Make sure that you have it set to foreground to transparent. So if your foreground is black, it'll be black to transparent, and just hit OK. And so what we want to do is we want to make some lighting effects happen. So what you can do is, while making sure that you're selected on the layer mask of the base layer, click and drag from the middle and hold down shift and drag down to your bottom right till you reach like the point, bottom right most point, and then let go. You should start to see like some little shading happen. So you can do just keep doing that in random spots just so you get some lighting, some shading going on from the bottom right side. Not too much. We just want to give it like a little subtleness for now. So then just deselect. And now we want to do the exact same thing for the topmost planet group. So just load up the selection again. Click into it. So now you have this. And still make sure that your gradient tool is selected, and let's do the exact same thing. So just a little bit, not entirely too much. So yeah, this is good right here. And now what we want to do is we want to start adding some atmosphere effects. So just start by just zooming in a little bit and then pushing this off to the left. And then go to your layers and go to your atmosphere layer and double click on it until you get your layer styles window open. And we want to start by doing some inner glow effects. So right here, I kind of already have this set up, but what you want to make sure is that your blend mode is set to screen. Opacity could be set to 100 or less, doesn't really matter. And your elements, make sure that size is set to the max 250. But it all depends on, I guess, whatever size your canvas is. But mine's big enough, so I have it set to 250 pixels. Right here is where you can set your color. So like atmosphere is generally like around a bluish color. So you can set it to be something like this. Hit OK. And then we can also, we need to also set up an outer glow. So just click outer glow. Again, I kind of have this set up already. Just have this set to however much you want. So pretty much just, it's all up to you how you want this to look. You can have the intensity be a lot or a little, really. It's all up to you. And then just hit OK. And then if you want, you can adjust this further. So just go back to your gradient tool. Not so much, actually. Something like this. So you can kind of see it, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the basics on how to create a planet. Generally, when I'm making a planet, I like to go a little further and do some more lighting effects. So generally what I would do is I would create an adjustment layer of a gradient adjustment layer and just have all the color be uniform. I can actually just show you real quick how to do that. So you just go to your adjustments panel and then go to gradient map. And so this is like the default right here, the black and white default. So if you go to properties, click into here, and you can just create your own gradient. So you just do foreground, set it to like, I don't know, like a dark, it'd be like really dark blue, green kind of color. And your lights could be, yeah, like some sort of, yeah, whatever. I mean, really, it's all up to you. I have these pre-made colors, gradient that I mess with from time to time. Just kind of get like a eerie look going. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's generally how I go about creating planets in Photoshop. If you like the video, please comment, subscribe, like the video. If you guys have any suggestions on any future videos you'd like me to do, any tutorials, any Photoshop stuff you guys need help on, just, comment below, let me know. If you guys like to see exactly how this file is set up, I will give you a link to actually download this Photoshop file so you can break down everything I did, reverse engineer anything, so you guys can see how I worked. I mean, pretty much what I showed you is exactly how I go about doing stuff. I actually wrote a fully in addition to this video, I also have a written version of this tutorial that I'll put in the description so you guys can check that out. It's a little more in depth than this video. It goes well into the details of the major like settings that I have that I like to use. But yeah, pretty much, yeah, that's how I go about creating planets. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Bye.